Support for Steppin Out comes in part from the Kristovich family in honor of Mary Lou and Bill Kristovich.
Scott Laborde, and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. Seated at our table tonight, oh my goodness, actor and author Brian Badd, here with a new book about the beloved Pontchartrain Beach Amusement Park. Hello, Brian. Shameless plug, number one.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Great to have you here. Thanks. Poppy Tucker with an exclamation point, host of the radio program Louisiana Eats, airing twice weekly on WWNO Radio. Hello, my dear.
Hello, Peggy.
And making his Steppin Out debut, artist Billy Solitario, who has a special exhibit that will help raise funds for a very good cause next week and will show some of his beautiful work. Welcome.
Thank you.
Hello. And Alan Smason of theatercriticism.com. But first up, Poppy.
Well, first of all, what a table full of yummies we have today.
Yes.
And this is a little present that one of my favorite chefs, Juan Carlos Gonzalez from Sobu, sent us this little present today. They're duck and fig croquettes with saffron and citrus aioli coming from his new fall menu. There's apple andouille beignets. There's crab steamed buns. There's shrimp. Well, it really looks like shrimp and one big grit to me, and instead of shrimp and grits. And of course, that's where you can have all of that fun with the legs and eggs. You know, Bella's there on Sundays.
Bella Blue.
Yes, yes. Now, the centennial, big announcement. The centennial celebration of the grasshopper cocktail, 100 years since the drink was invented. It's next Friday, November the 2nd, from 2:30 until 4:30. There's going to, at Tujague's, of course, there's going to be free grasshoppers from 2:30 to 4:30.
And why is the grasshopper there at Tujague's?
That is where it was invented. Philip Guichet, who was the second owner, he invented the grasshopper on the eve of Prohibition in 1918. So here we are. Also, you can get your grasshoppers at half price through doing some little social media tricks through November, and everybody gets a free grasshopper after dinner demi with every meal through November. And then, of course, I wanted to mention the Halloween drag brunch. There's only about 6 or 8 seats left. So if you want to go, sign up. I am so excited. I got the lineup. I hear that they'll be doing Whistle While You Twerk, a little Snow White mix. And if you've always wanted to meet my cross-dressing ghost, Julian L. Tinge, I'm going to be doing a Facebook Live on Halloween Day from Tujague's with NOLA.com, where we'll be making grasshoppers and we'll be ghost hunting.
Well, that's fun.
Isn't that fun? That's next Wednesday at around 12:30, Facebook Live. And then I've got November events that are so exciting that are coming. Bubbles and Bonbons on Tuesday, November 13th from 6 until 8 p.m. Tickets are just $40. It's at Copeland Towers Ballroom. Over 30 sparkling wines and all sorts of chocolates and sweets. And then, coming on Saturday, November the 17th, the inaugural Fête du Fromage. The tickets range from $30 to $125, depending on your experience. It's going to run from 11 to 5 at the New Orleans Jazz Museum. There has never been an occasion like this in the South. They will be sampling over 100 cheeses, along with wines and beers and ciders. And there'll be food trucks when you're tired of the cheese, if you can ever get that way. Food trucks and restaurants will be there serving some food too, like Toupe South and Gris and La Boulangerie. There'll be music from Robin Barnes and Bon Bon Vivant. And there'll be seminars with all sorts of experts like Liz Thorpe. But my favorite thing is that they're going to have a gigantic marché where you can purchase all of your holiday cheeses on the spot. So the timing is perfect. That's Saturday, November the 17th. This is, can you believe there's never been a cheese festival
That's the big question, isn't
like
it?
this?
Like,
It's
yeah. No,
really
I can't.
exciting. Oh, I'm just hungry right now.
All right, and love your necklace, by the way.
But you know,
Very
it's
appropriate.
Halloween. It's
Absolutely.
Halloween.
Ooh, okay. It is so nice to have Billy Solitario on. I admire his work greatly. Originally from California, Florida, but really been in New Orleans a long time.
I have. Well, I came in '94 from Mississippi, actually. That's where I grew up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. That's kind of a big influence in my work is nature and
we'll be showing, of course, some of the images. Now, I love asking this of you. Do you paint plein air?
I do, yeah, yeah, I do. About half and half, about half in the studio and about half out in plein air. As it gets colder, I'll be in the studio a lot more doing still lives of crabs and oysters and things like that.
Mm-hmm. You really love oysters, don't you?
I do. I love Who doesn't? Exactly.
He paints a lot of oysters, too.
I'm in love with that. I'm in love with the shell. There's all these beautiful colors within neutrals. And so it's, it's just, they're a blast to paint.
There they are. Look at those.
They contain all of the nature within them. It's, it's just a wonderful object. It's, This is fantastic.
Now, an exhibit of your work, you are usually based on magazine, but this time around on Thursday is for a very special event for Poitras Home, that there will be an exhibit at Poitras Home, and
Correct.
also Evelyn Jordan, a potter, a ceramicist. The work will be offered for sale, and part of the proceeds go
Absolutely.
to Poitras Home.
Yep.
So tell me how that all came about.
Well, I think normally they do group shows, and they decided this year to try something different. They were going to have one artist come in, and they asked me to come in, and we hung the show, and it's just a one-night thing. And, it's nice. It's in their front hallway there, so it's got a nice gallery feel, and hopefully we'll sell some pieces and and make some money.
And Deacon John's performing. It's going to be
Oh
a
yeah,
lot
the gala's
of
going to
fun.
be fantastic. Yeah, yeah. It's going to be
Food and drink
it's huge.
a fundraiser. Yeah, and
the
I've
paintings
been
are just
to
a
it.
little,
It's so
just
much
a little
fun.
side thing actually. It's going to be an amazing gala.
Very good. Now, I know that Ozaklas Ozols was really one of your mentors.
He was, yes. He taught me how to paint, basically.
I'd say
He's taught a lot of
the
people in New
mentor.
Orleans how to paint. It's surprising how many artists are influenced by him here in New Orleans. And I think he's got a book out right
There's
now.
a book out we'll talk about in just a bit.
Yeah. So it's going to be beautiful. It's fantastic. He's an amazing instructor, an amazing painter, and has had a huge influence on the artists here in New Orleans.
Now, Billy, so you were based, though, your studio is in
I'm
Magazine
at
Street,
4531 Magazine Street. That's my studio. I also show with Lemieux Galleries here in New Orleans as well.
And you've shown at Lemieux for a while,
Since the beginning of my career, basically.
Well, any future different topics, or do you pretty much focus on landscapes and
Well, the winter time's
oysters
coming,
and-
so I'll be doing a lot of still lives this winter. I'm having a show in November 9th, which will be a nocturnal show. So that'll be something different. It'll be all evenings things. It'll be
great.
kind of near Mardi Gras, before Mardi Gras. But
And
it'll be
where
a
will
lot
that be?
That will be at my studio,
Okay.
on Magazine Street.
Okay.
And then other shows will be going on later
All right, well, congratulations. And once again, on Thursday, we've got Poitras Home, so don't forget that as well.
It's gonna be, yeah.
And New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Charles Bailey gave us the names of the two actresses who played a mother and daughter living in Storyville in the movie Pretty Baby. The answers are Susan Sarandon and Brooke Shields, of course. Now, tonight's question, in time for Halloween. This Royal Street home is a favorite stop for ghost tours. Also, name a former Fairgrounds racetrack character who was known as Black Cat. Identify both. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prize is a year subscription to Louisiana Life magazine. An apron with the message, Silence of the Yams, from our friends at wearablevegetables.com. A copy of Brian Batt's new book, Pontchartrain Beach, A Family Affair. And we also have a Kitchen Witch cook shop, of course, bookshop, cook shop, a gift certificate for $25. And by the way, tomorrow, Kuzan's Barbecue will have a pop-up there from 10:30 to 4 p.m. So I guess if you're going to the Voodoo Fest or whatever, you can walk right by there. But of course, they're right there in Bayou Road. Very convenient. You can go to WYES.org for our online calendar to see our lineup of events. including Shivers, which is a special tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Canal Place. Lots of activities for children, treats, and a costume contest, too. You can also link to our WYES YouTube channel to see our program. Brian, how many years in the making has this book been?
Well, almost 2 years in the making.
And a reason because, of course, your family, your grandfather, great-grandfather
Yes, well, almost
started.
a lifetime in the making.
Yes.
My dear friend Katie Danos and I, my partner, she and I wrote this book, and it celebrates Pontchartrain Beach and my grandfather, who was really a showman. He started off as Harry Bat. He started off as an iceman. His grandfather had an ice company, and as the story goes, he was going down St. Charles delivering ice, and on the other side, he saw a Model T coming the other way. He's like, with a refrigerator on it, he's like, I got to get out of this business. So he did. So the Iceman became a showman, and the rest is history. So from 1928 to 1983, we had the wonderful Pontchartrain Beach at the foot of Elysian Fields. And but you know the many inspirations came to us to write this. One, when my mom passed, I was going through all the
wonderful
boxes,
Gail Bad.
Yes, and I discovered these boxes of memorabilia that I hadn't seen since they closed my father's office. And you know, then I saw the parade. Damien did this the biggest float in Mardi Gras history. Right. And my cousin Kevin sent me pictures like, you've got to see this. And I realized there was no book about Pontchartrain Beach. So I thought before this history of New Orleans goes by the wayside, you know, we needed to document it. And what's fun about the book is it's a little bit of history. It's a little bit of stories of people who worked there, people who went there. Ricky Graham has a great story.
Fancy scrapbook.
Yeah, fancy scrapbook. You know, Walter Isaacson had quotes. You know, Wendell Pierce, Deacon John.
Look at this with Elvis.
There's Elvis with my grandfather. He played there.
Way back when, though.
Way back when,
early
right before Hound Dog hit.
Wow.
And after he came back the year later, he loved it. He came back. He and my grandfather were friends, and he brought his girlfriend. And my cousin said they had a big dinner, invited the whole family. He wanted fried chicken. The king wanted fried chicken. So they had this great dinner. And literally, when he got up to leave, everybody went scrambling for the bones and the plates and everything. He was humongous then. But you know what's fun about it? We put the feelers out for people who worked there, you know, on Facebook and in the papers. There's your wedding.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, there's Peggy, Scott, and Errol's reception was at Valley Home.
Was it Valley?
Yes.
You can see all the tiki stuff in the background,
too.
too.
What's fun is my grandfather was
Great
way ahead.
memories.
He was always interested in what was new and what was coming up, and he built Valley High when that craze was happening with all the...
You know, and when South Pacific was popular, and
fact,
we could be
picture.
showing your book signings as we talk. But I know he was influenced by that, but I didn't realize that he had gone to a lot of World's Fairs.
Oh my gosh,
too.
he actually did the concessions, the entire midway at the Seattle World's Fair. Wow. And it was the only World's Fair that turned a profit. Yeah, he got a lot of his inspiration. He wanted to create something here in this city that we didn't have. And he was always looking for the new, and he died when I was 14. And to be honest with you, as we were writing this, I felt his presence. I really did. He was a magical man, and he created a lot of magic for the city. And it's just a love letter to the family, to the Pontchartrain Beach, and to New Orleans.
And you know, the legacy sort of continues because even though Pontchartrain Beach is gone, Storyland, which your grandfather was inspired by my understanding, by a Storyland type area from elsewhere.
And he created it and Blaine Kern was actually the one who built it. He also put the trains in the park, also in the St. Louis Zoo. He also invented those machines at the beach that would, with the animal face, that would suck the garbage up.
Oh, yeah.
That was he came up with that. And it was the smartest way to keep the place clean because kids would pick up anything and want to throw it in there. But, you know, there's some great stories, family stories about growing up there, and just very humorous quotes, you know, and
the Zephyr, of course.
And the Zephyr.
You know, and you also had, I have to say, the Zephyr Jr.
Zephyr Jr.'s in there,
and I was more the Zephyr Jr. mode, but anyway.
Well, Irma Thomas said, you know, I rode the Zephyr once. As you can see, I did survive.
Yes. And then much later on, the Raging Cajun.
The Raging Cajun. Wendell Pierce gave a great quote about the Raging Cajun.
The Wild Mouse.
The Wild
Mouse, which was in Germany. Because he went all over the world.
Every year he took a world tour looking for new rides, new ideas. And the odd thing about the Wild Mouse, it's a German ride, and it was one of the first rides that was built after World War II, which was, you know, what a German ride.
Interesting.
You know, I don't know. But it was quite a magical playground growing up. You know, I didn't know any different. You know, I didn't know.
You know what, just let's explain though, we're talking about the WYES, but if somebody's not familiar with it, it was one of these kind of rickety, I don't know if it was made of wood or not.
It was wood.
But the little car would go boop, zigzag, boom,
Well, you know
boom,
why
boom,
it was
boom.
so scary?
It's very scary.
Is when we did the research on why. The car was only connected by the back wheels. So the front section of the car literally would go off the track. It was not connected. It was strong.
Okay.
No cars ever went off.
No. Yeah,
but it would give you the
So the
illusion
car
that, oh my
turned.
gosh, we're going. Yeah. So
And there was the log flume,
the
and that
log
was once again
flume
later. And
the
wait,
Music
and the
Express,
golf course
the
around
golf course around the
world, and
and the clown for the older folks, the big clown hat, you know, with the laugh in the dark.
Yeah.
But so many wonderful memories that people wrote in about, and some of my favorite ones were people that said, you know, I couldn't afford college, but I worked at Pontchartrain Beach, and I was able to pay for my tuition at then LSUNO and UNO, and it's
right across the
It's a
street.
very it just harkens back to a simpler time when we would get our thrills on going around a Ferris wheel with a date or riding a horse on the merry-go-round.
sipping
Nowadays,
Mai Tai.
who knows? Or Mai Tai in the Valley High.
Well, I know you have a lot of book signings coming up
Yes,
too.
yes.
And we should acknowledge Pelican is the publisher.
Pelican is the publisher. My co-author is Katie Danos from Hazelnut.
So
and
you've
we're
got
dear
some
friends.
coming up. Here we go.
Yes,
So next
November
Friday,
2nd in Hazelnut.
one of your favorite stores.
Come on, oh, I love it. We also have products with Pontchartrain Beach themed coming up. Garden District books on November 7th. November 8th, I believe, we're doing something for the Advocate.
Yes,
Which is going to be really fun on St. Charles. You have to
very
RSVP, go online.
So if we go to your website, there you'll have updated list of your signings, or
yes.
call
Just
Hazelnut.
call Hazelnut.
Oh, okay.
504-891-2424.
Okay, you just happened to know it. Right?
just happened to
Well,
know.
once again, congratulations.
Thank you.
We're so excited for you. Alan!
Well, you know, I just as an aside, I'm mentioning my wife and I, before we got married, one of the last nights that I had at Pontchartrain Beach, the fireworks. I just remember being up there on the beach with that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of memories, it was about 25 years ago on this very show that Al Shea declared that Cynthia Owen was by far the greatest young talent to grace the New Orleans stage at that time. And I was one who watched that very show. And I take pride that my friend had been so rightfully acknowledged, Cynthia, of course. Now, I come here today to announce that members here of this august panel, that I have the same feelings about Shelby Mack. She's an actress, a singer, a dancer, and yes, a scenic designer who's absolutely killing it in the JPAS production of Peter Pan, playing its final shows this weekend. Shelby, who previously played Patty Andrews for 2 years at BB Stage Door Canteen as part of the tribute to the Andrews sisters, and Charity Hope Valentine at Rivertown in their production of Sweet Charity, is just absolutely magnificent. But if there was ever an argument for her to put down the paintbrush as a scenic designer, this is probably it. She's fantastic. She plays that performance as a boy, a prepubescent boy, if you will, that was made famous by James M. Barrie and traditionally played by a woman.
Mary Martin.
And it goes back really to
incomparable.
1904. The play was originally a woman.
Course.
But she sings I Got a Crow, and of course tenderly introduces us to Neverland. And the songs, of course, are great. They're written by Maurice Charlap, along with Adolph Green, and of course Julie Stein, Betty Comden. That was a concordance that really never did repeat on Broadway. And as Captain Hook, Jimmy Murphy is absolutely enthralling. He delights. He's been a previous Hook back in 2003, back opposite
He usually
Amy
plays the
Alvarez.
good guy.
He does, but in this one he plays with glee. He plays this devious Captain Hook against Matthew Shirley as Smee, a bit of an inspirational casting there as well. I would say a performer who looms large. It includes a full-blown orchestra led by Kyle Oquan, world-class choreography by Jeanne Boisson. She does some amazing work with the young ladies and the young men there. A woman who really has proven her star status over at Tulane Summer Lyric. And again, this production is kicking off the 41st season of Jefferson Performing Arts, a superb cast, and led by none other than Uncle Wayne Daguerrepoint. There are a few things that are really more for the kids, that are not for the adults, but it's really a great show, and I really recommend it just to see Peter Pan fly and just to see Shelby do this part. Now, back in 1968, a very young Bernadette Peters got her first start off-Broadway in Dames at Sea, which is a tribute to the Busby Berkeley musicals of the 30s. Banu Gibson directs this wonderful cast of 6 in beautiful choreography by Heidi Molnar, music by Harry Marone Jr. And Amelia Jacquet stars as Ruby. She dances and taps up a storm, and she sings these wonderful fast songs that are reminiscent of those songs from the 30s with some beautiful ballads as well. It's hard to believe she is just a senior at Ursuline Academy and also at NOCA. Her strong voice plays really well off of Anthony Michael Harvey, who plays Dick. Of course, this is the team of Dick Powell and Ruby Keeler. Trina Beck works the room as Mona Kent, a Broadway performer of the highest magnitude with an ego to match, probably as large as the ship they actually perform on in the second act. Another couple are Lucky, played by Renelle Taylor, and Joan, played by Kiara Milliner. Again, great performances there. Last by no means least, Gary Rucker returns to the stage door canteen as a performer in a dual role, both as the stage manager and as the captain of the ship. It's a very fun show. I think people will enjoy it. Again, there is a brunch option on Sundays and a dinner option as well. Original music by Jim Wise with a book and lyrics by George Hameson and Robin Mill. Again, Dames at Sea plays weekends through November the 11th, and times will vary, so check out the Stage Door Canteen site. Finally, for those who are familiar with the dark comedy of the Irish playwright Martin McDonagh, a favorite interpretation company in New Orleans is the NOLA Project. They love doing his stuff. The Cripple of Inishmore, the Lieutenant of Inishfree, or maybe it's opposite. I'm Inishfree or Inishmore, but they basically do a lot of his dark comedies. And those of you who are familiar with some of them know that they can not only be dark, but they can be pretty bloody. Well, The Pillow Man is set in this dystopian police state of the future, if you will. James Bartell stars as Couturier, a writer whose troubling children's stories are suspected of being used as sort of a menu to kill children. He plays opposite his own real-life brother, Michael, in a bit of unusual casting there. Michael Bartell and James Bartell. Michael Aaron Santos is Detective Topolsky, who plays a detective who's after his man, if you will. He's the one who suspects that these stories that he reads are really being used for nefarious purposes. And assisting him is, believe it or not, Meredith Owens, who we know of as a great musical performer. She's really a standout in this as well. Shows her prowess as an actor. The black humor really highlights the power of stories, and really, I think, is a cathartic device for McDonagh to talk, if you will, to the audience about being a writer. It's a seemingly overzealous police force that really take you down a spiral of a dark rabbit hole of dark foreboding. It's at times horrifying, and at other times really funny. It's not for kids, though, and again, some people may leave it somewhat deeply disturbed, but I would recommend it. It's really well done. The Pillow Man, again, is directed by Mark Routhier. Really, really top-notch.
All right.
Halloween, you should be disturbed and scared. Halloween. Come on.
Like Scream Island, ooh, Scout Island.
Yeah, well, you
Scream.
know, the Boy Scouts
City
are really
Park.
going to do something this weekend. Yes.
Now it's time for our picks, of course. Brian.
Well, I hate to be self-promoted, but I'm
right
self-promoted. Besides book, I'm going to be on the Today Show with Hoda and Jenna that filmed today, but it's going to air on Monday, so check it out at 9. And then also a movie that I filmed actually here at WYES on the new studios called Tales from the Hood 2, Spike Lee, the sequel to Spike Lee, is on Netflix. So check it out. It's the second tale, and I have the lead in that, and it's pretty funny and a little scary. But you will laugh. My brother thinks it's the best thing I've ever done.
Okay.
Well, I'll do a little self-promotion, too. Tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I'll be signing books at the Covington Farmers Market, and I'll be there till noon. And then looking ahead to November, the Beaujolais Nouveau celebration. That will be Thursday, November 15th at the JW Marriott on Canal Street.
All right. Billy.
I know that Mary Monk is having a show. She's a fantastic pastelist, and her show is at LMU. I think they're having a closing reception this weekend. So she's fantastic.
All right, great. Thank you. Alan.
2 years ago, I had the privilege of being able to see the Jack Black movie-inspired musical School of Rock. It's coming here on Tuesday. It's opening. Of course, people don't remember, but some should, that Andrew Lloyd Webber was a rock opera specialist. He was really involved with rock music. This is a great show. Fantastic group of kids playing their own instruments. You're not going to believe how good they are and how talented they are. It's a good show to see. I recommend it very highly.
Wasn't that one of his earlier works?
School of Rock?
Yeah.
No, no.
Oh, I thought it was
Really, he started off with Jesus Christ Superstar. Before that, of
Yeah.
course,
Joseph.
Joseph and the Amazing
Joseph.
Technicolor
Okay,
Dreamcoat.
for some reason
So
I
yeah,
thought that
no,
was
he
early.
really was really into the rock scene with Tim Rice, of course.
Okay, thank you. And before I go to my picks, I wanted to share some images of the Church of Our Lady of Good Counsel, a Catholic church on Louisiana Avenue. Since May 20th of this year, the church has added a Sunday Mass at 5 p.m. in addition to the 10:30 a.m. Charismatic Mass. It's such a beautiful place, and it was closed for a while, so we're so glad that it's opening again. And they're holding rosary services every Wednesday at 6 p.m., and we're just thrilled that it's there. Brian Morgan at the organ. We know Brian, of course, from Steppin' Out with vocalist Melissa Bricado. Now for my picks, check out the Herman Grimmerhause's exhibit, Death and Mourning in the 19th century New Orleans, which examines local customs and ceremonies from that period. The exhibit runs till the end of the month, and so check it out. And it's really very well done. Don't forget the Chamber Music Festival ending this Sunday. All kinds of free concerts. It's wonderful. Go to their website to see the list of performances and their locations all over town. Looking ahead, see New Orleans' official flash mob dancing to Michael Jackson's hits Thriller and Beat It next Wednesday at noon at Armstrong Park. Visit flashmobneworleans.com for more information. It's like 25 different dance groups coming together. Do not miss the Day of the Dead celebration that is put on by Sally Ann Glassman next Thursday evening at the New Orleans Healing Center. Of course, All Saints Day right there in St. Claude. They always have really fascinating stuff going on there. Check their website for details. Now, speaking of artist Ozoklas Ozols and author John Kemp earlier, they'll be signing their brand new book, The Romantic Realism of an Artist and Teacher, next Thursday at 6 p.m. at Octavia Books. Also, look at that. Ugh. He, of course, is the longtime head of the Academy of Fine Arts and renowned for his classical realist style. I love that. Bayou St. John. Congratulations to both Ozoklas Ozos and John Kemp. Book signing next Thursday. And you can spend an evening with Leah Chase to benefit the Kingsley House, also next Thursday night. The event will be held at Dookie Chase on Orleans Avenue. Go to kingsleyhouse.org for tickets. And don't forget that you can see Jeffrey Roberson's new show, Mad Scene, starring Marisol Montalvo, the opera singer, next Thursday night, too. Lots of things going on next Thursday night at NOCA, right there on Charter Street. And we've got to thank our friend Maria Cachetta, because every year she drops this off for our show. Look at these. They're so cute, the little Tootsie Roll Pops. Ooh, you can have one of these, okay. And I also love scared. And I also, of course, love the cookies, too. So thank you all so much. Let's see. So let's just sum up. Halloween, Pontchartrain Beach, oysters, and beautiful sunrises and sunsets. And once again, what is this? It smells so good. I can't.
Are duck and fig confit croquettes.
All right. So
With
where
citrus
else?
aioli. Woo!
Where, scary. Where else but on Steppin' Out? Thank you all very much for watching. Good night. It's like we'll have a quiz at the end,
Yeah.
right?